Good morning. Good Monday morning. Today is May the 15th. We are halfway through this fifth month of 2023. That's a lot of fives. Fifth month, 15th day, 23 adds up to 5. Let's see if we get any 5s coming up in any of our readings today. The 5 represents a crossroads in the tarot. It represents that point at which on our journey, we begin to look to the past, look to the future, and decide whether we have made the right choice for the path that we are actually taking. Let's have a look at what the cards have in store. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. Please give me a like and a comment if you enjoy what you see. If you hear some unusual noises, it is because I am currently in Medicine Hat, Alberta. This is my cousin's man cave. He has generously donated so that I am able to come to you from a relatively quiet place. However, there are some unusual noises around as it is an active working farm. And it's also an active working farm with a number of new additions, including 3 kittens who are behind that door behind me. And they're rather active and rather vocal at this time. For those of you who are new here, a very, very warm welcome to each and every one of you. My name is Marnie. I'm also known as the Intuitive Butterfly. I do not edit any of my videos. What you see is what you get. How do the videos work? Well, each Monday morning I jump on and I record a video wherein I ask you to go into a light meditative state. And from that light meditative state, now we're not talking a 15 or 20-minute meditation here, we're talking 2 or 3 minutes. I ask you just to get into a relaxed state, and I then present 3 rocks, gems, or trinkets to you. From this relaxed state, I ask you to intuitively decide which rock, gem, or trinket you are most attracted to. And then you can check the timestamps down below for your reading this week. We look at the general overall energies that are influencing you this week, as well as shadow energies. Shadow energies are something that is bubbling and brewing just below the surface that you may not be aware of, but you might want to be aware of. So for example, sometimes what comes up in the shadow energy is impatience, wherein you think you're having a great week and all of a sudden, and then you're just really, really impatient. And there's no real true explanation for it, but you're finding yourself impatient. When this happens, if we have the heads up that this may be kind of bubbling and brewing below the surface, we have the ability to mentally, psychologically, emotionally prepare ourselves for when it comes up so that we're not reactive to it. And we can go, okay, I know where this is coming from. It's all good. Take a couple deep breaths, and then you can move through it more easily than if it blindsides you. And that's one of the reasons why we seek out psychics and tarot card readers. Okay, let's get started. I'd like you to get yourself as comfortable as possible. This may be you laying down. It may be you sitting in a chair comfortably. You may choose to have your feet up, or you may choose to have your feet flat on the ground. Whatever is most comfortable for you. And as you make your last couple of adjustments and make yourself comfortable, begin to concentrate on your breathing. You may choose to have your eyes open or closed, whatever is most comfortable for you and will help you to relax. Pay attention to your breath. When you breathe in, what happens? Do you notice the air going in through your nostrils or in through your mouth? Do you notice how the temperature of the air that you're breathing in is a different temperature from the temperature of your body? And when you're ready, exhale. Again, pay attention to the temperature of the breath as it leaves your body. And just notice the changes that your body made to the air that you breathed in and that you are now exhaling. And let's do that one more time. Inhale as deeply as is comfortable for you, and pay attention to the air. Most of us do this unconsciously all throughout our day. And it's not until we pay attention to it that we can begin to truly relax. When you're ready, exhale, and again, pay attention to the changes in the air. Notice how the air, as you exhale it, is warmer than when you inhaled it. And on your final breath here, pay attention to the physiological changes that have happened to your body and the mental changes that have happened to your mind just in these few short moments. There's relaxation that has begun to flow through your body. There's relaxation that has begun to calm your mind. And you're better able to pay attention. You're better able to concentrate. You are more in touch with the real, true you at this time. If you've had your eyes closed, please open your eyes, but continue to remain in your very relaxed state. I'm going to present 3 rocks, gems, or trinkets to you. I'd like to ask you to wait until all 3 trinkets have been presented to you, and then make your choice from this relaxed, intuitive state. The first one today is a crystal. It's a crystal point. For the life of me, I cannot remember what it was called. I just knew that I really liked it, and so I bought it. Let's see if we can show you how much it sparkles. It has a hint of purple to it, but for the most part, it is white and crystal. So let's just call it a crystal point. If you're drawn towards this, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 1. The second trinket today is a candle, but it's a candle in the shape of a skull. If you are intuitively drawn towards this candle, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 2. And finally, we have a piece of coral. This piece of coral was picked up off a beach, probably in the 1980s. It had washed up on shore. So if you are drawn towards this piece of coral, I'll be pulling cards for you from deck number 3. So make your decision now, either the sparkly piece of crystal, the skull candle, or the coral. Okay, let's get started. And by all means, check the timestamps down below. However, I do recommend that if you were drawn very strongly towards one of the trinkets, and then there was a second one that came up and you went, oh, maybe that one as well, watch both videos, because oftentimes that happens and there's common themes that come up for us. Okay, for those of you who selected this crystal point, this sparkly crystal point, I'm going to be pulling cards for you this week from the Osho Zen Tarot. All right. Let's have a card or two for the, whoa, there's one, for the dominant energies for those who selected the sparkly crystal point. Ooh, we've got 3 cards out so far. Okay. All right. So let's read the cards in the order in which they came up. Okay. The first card that you have this week is the Courage card. This is a card of making sure that you realize that life is not always a walk in the park. Life sometimes can require us to exhibit a courage that we didn't realize that we had within ourselves. Is this a bad thing? No, actually, because the bottom line is that we learn when we are challenged, when we are forced into that place of exhibiting and expressing courage. That is when we grow. If we live our lives 100% inside our comfort zones, we don't have the capacity to learn because we're comfortable. We're not forced to learn anything. So, what does this mean for this week? What this means for this week is that you may be challenged this week and put in a position where you have to express courage, where you have to let everyone know that, yes, you were that seed that fell into a crack, and then you worked your butt off to come up out of that crack, to receive water coming into that crack, to receive the nutrients you needed, to receive the sunlight you needed in order to grow and become the beautiful flower that you are today. This may require you this week to go back to your roots and remind people of where you came from and how tough and strong you really are. Why is this coming up? Because you have the Ace of Swords here, which is the consciousness card. Aces are all about new beginnings. This card is a card of stepping into a new consciousness, stepping into a new realization of how things are and how things were and how things can be. Okay, this is an awakening card. The third card that you have this week is a card that oftentimes can be construed as a very negative card. However, with these two cards here, this card is actually a positive card. The card that you have here is the Seven of Clouds. This is the card of politics, and you will notice that the character on the card is a snake. He puts on this happy, smiling face, but in reality, he's a two-faced snake. How does this card play into these two cards for you this week? Well, you have the courage to grow and to awaken into a consciousness that you didn't realize existed a few minutes ago, or even a few hours ago, or a couple of years ago. You are in this awakening. What happens when you move into this place of awakening? You have the ability to be able to see behind the masks. You have the ability to even step out of comfort zones for this awakening, and you have the courage to expose these snakes. Do you have a snake in your midst? Because what these cards are showing me is that for this week, your dominant energy is there's a snake in your midst, whether that be a family member or a friend. There is someone who is wearing this happy, smiling face while also being this rather negative character in the background. And so what these dominant energies are telling me is that you need to have the courage and the consciousness and the wherewithal, which is the consciousness card, to be able to expose the snake. That takes courage. It takes a lot of courage. But with a newly awakened consciousness, you have the ability to be able to call someone out. You'll also notice that The consciousness card is about being very exposed. This is about wearing masks. The fact that these two cards came out together is an indication that someone needs to be exposed at this time. That's going to require courage. Okay, let's have a look at your shadow energy. The shadow energy is the card on the bottom of the deck. Okay, you have the 9 of water here on the bottom of the deck. This is your shadow this week. What is this telling me? This is telling me that as much as you're being called into a place of courage, as much as you are being called into an awakening of your consciousness, this is telling me that you'd much rather sit back and not do a whole lot, right? This is a shadow. This is, how do I put this? Okay, we all have weeks where we need downtime, where we need to be able to step back from the busy, and we need to be able to create that alone time, that relaxed time, that I just want to sit here and do nothing for a period of time. That is what this card is saying, that you may be taking to an extreme this week, or you may be tempted to take to the extreme this week. As the shadow, this is something, like I said at the beginning of the video, that bubbles and brews below the surface, and that you might not be aware of. So when you go to sit down and you say, okay, I just need a break, I just need 10 minutes to myself, and an hour goes by of you either scrolling through social media, playing Candy Crush, or some other mindless game, watching Netflix, whatever the case may be, whatever downtime looks like for you. The shadow this week is that your 10 minutes of downtime may extend or expand itself inadvertently into laziness. Like I said at the beginning of the video, the reason that we like to be aware of our shadow energies is so that we can practice avoidance of them, right? So that we can be aware that when we sit down for our 10-minute power nap, or for that 10-minute break, that 10-minute coffee break, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever is your normal. Wow, the kittens are being a little active over there. I don't know if the microphone picked that up or not. Okay. Regardless of what your downtime is, set some boundaries for yourself about what your downtime is, so that this laziness doesn't have the ability to be able to creep in on you this week. You definitely don't want that happening. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll join me again next Monday for our next weekly energies deep dive. Okay, moving on. Those of you who selected this black skull candle, I will be pulling cards for you from the Fairy Tarot. Let's get started. 1 or 2 cards for the dominant energies for those who selected the black skull this week. Got at least 1 card out. Is there anything else? Anything else? There's another card here. Yep. Coming up. 2 more cards. Okay. I'm going to pull that card out. I don't know why. All right. Huh. Interesting. You have 2 cards that came up in the reverse. Holy cow. Okay. Yeah. You lucky people who chose this skull. Out of 4 cards that jumped out of the deck, you have 3 cards that are part of the major arcana. That to me is absolutely fascinating. There are 78 cards in this deck, 22 of which are considered major arcana. And from 4, you ended up with 3 major arcana. Just absolutely fascinating. What that is telling me is that there are some very, very strong energies coming in for you at this time, energies that are basically yelling at you. Okay. The minor arcana cards, such as this 5 of spring that you have here, which came out in the reverse. I want to point that out. The minor arcana cards, when they come in, are kind of like a friend saying to you, hey, by the way, did you know? The major arcana cards, these 3 blue cards, are cards going, yo, pay attention. Okay, so let's see what you're meant to be paying attention to. The very first card that jumped out of the deck for you was the Chariot. This is a card of being in the spotlight, knowing that good things are running towards you. And it's a card that also indicates that you need to be dedicated to whatever it is that you are doing at this time. Why do you need to be dedicated to what it is that you're doing? Well, you have the Magician here in reverse. What does that mean? Well, normally the Magician card would be a card of amazing, beautiful things are coming your way. You have the ability and capacity to be able to create and manifest anything you want in your life. But when you get this card in reverse, it's an indication that you may be practicing self-doubt and imposter syndrome right now. You may be thinking, I can't do that. So you've got a conflict here. You've got good things running towards you, actually barreling towards you, as the Chariot does. And then you've got self-doubt coming in. You also have the 5 of spring coming in. Now, remember what I said at the very beginning of this reading. We are in the 5th month on the 15th day of a year that ends in 2, 3, which adds up to 5. And so I questioned whether we were going to get any 5s today. And here we are. We have the 5 of spring. The 5 of spring is a card of opposition. It's a card of opposites. And you got this card in reverse. So this is a card of you really, really wanting to be ambitious, but kind of going into this place of laziness, of wanting to believe that you can manifest and do anything that you want, and then practicing imposter syndrome and self-doubt. This is a card of going back and forth, back and forth. And these first 2 cards indicated the same thing, that you've got good things coming towards you, and yet the Magician in reverse indicates you may practice self-sabotage this week. So what's the final card that came out for you this week? The Hermit. And the Hermit came out in the upright position. What's the Hermit asking us to do? The Hermit is asking us to go back within ourselves, to take quiet time for ourselves and get really, really clear. Because you have a back and forth indicated here. You have a back and forth indicated here. You have this conflict coming up. So what you're actually putting out into the world this week is this bouncing around, and the universe is looking at you going, okay, you want to manifest, you want to manifest, you want to manifest. Oh, shoot. Now you don't believe anymore. Okay, what do you want to manifest? Oh, now you don't believe anymore. Okay, you're going to manifest. You're the Magician. You're doing this. You're doing this. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh, no, wait, self-doubt. Okay. When you're putting energies like that out into the world, the universe doesn't know what to give you. The universe doesn't know how to provide for you anymore. And so you end up, oh my God. I can't. I'm sorry, my guides are telling me to share this visual with you in relation to this. And it's kind of a funny visual. When you're putting these kinds of back and forth energies out into the world, the universe doesn't know if you're coming or going. And so it can make you feel like you're in a swirly in a toilet bowl, just going around and around and around. You know how the water in the toilet bowls just kind of go around and around and around? That's what the universe is sending to you right now because it doesn't know what to give you. And so the final card that you have in your dominant energies this week is the Hermit. Those of you that selected this, the Hermit is calling upon you. And the universe is calling upon you and saying, hey guys, time to step back, time to go within, and time to get really, really clear on what it is that you want to put out into the universe. What is it that you want to create and manifest? Make it clear and then give it the time and the opportunity for the Chariot to bring it to you. But your first step is going to be the Hermit and going within and getting clear. Your card from the bottom of the deck, which is your shadow energy this week, that which is bubbling or brewing below the surface, is an ace. It's the Ace of Summer, also known as the Ace of Cups. What does this card represent? Aces always represent new beginnings for us. This actually plays 100% into these cards. If you're trying to create something new and then going into this self-doubt, going into this questioning and so on and so forth, it stands to reason that you would have the Ace of Summer, also known as the Ace of Cups, as your shadow. Something new wants to come through for you, something big, something regarding relationships, whether the relationship is romantic or whether you're just calling in a mentor or helper. I also want to point out that the Hermit can be about calling in a mentor. If you're having difficulty manifesting and getting really clear on what it is you want by going within yourself, then seek out the advice of a trusted friend or mentor. And this is a card as well that a trusted friend or mentor or romantic partner or confidant wants to come in and help you at this time. This is about something new coming in, specifically related to a relationship, related to another person coming in. But this is your shadow. This card can also represent the awakening of psychic abilities. So if you're currently not seeking anything romantic and you're feeling like you really don't need a mentor, this can also indicate psychic abilities are trying to come in at this time, but you keep blocking them with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and questioning. Okay. So I hope that that resonates with you guys. I hope that you're able to overcome this Magician in reverse and this five of spring in reverse. I hope that you're able to overcome this so that you can actually manifest this Ace of Summer or Ace of Cups by the end of the week. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you'll join me again next Monday. I hope that this is clear as mud. It was a little convoluted at the beginning, but to me anyway, right now, it's very clear that there is something coming in. It wants to come barreling towards you with this Chariot, but you're sending out mixed signals. And when you get really clear on your mixed signals by going within with this Hermit, your Ace of Summer is going to manifest. All right. Let's move into those of you who selected this piece of coral, this lovely piece of coral from years and years ago. I'm going to be pulling cards for you from the traditional tarot. This is my old cheater deck. I still keep going back to it. I don't know why. I've used other tarot decks over the years, and for whatever reason, I just find that this one is more accurate, and it resonates with more people. So those people that chose, I'm just going to move this skull from earlier off. It's got a powerful energy to it. And I'm finding that it's kind of influencing the energies here. Okay. We've got your piece of coral. Let's set it down. Dominant energies for those who selected the coral. Can we please have 1 or 2 cards to help us understand the dominant energies this week for those who selected the coral? Okay, it's not coming out yet. So let's go back through the deck. This happens sometimes because the card that wants to come out was at the opposite end of the deck and it didn't have a chance to pop out like that. Okay. Is there anything else? Anything else? Okay, we've got the 3 of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles coming up, and there's another card tucked underneath that I can't quite see yet. Is there anything else for the dominant energies this week? Yeah, okay. All right, so in the order in which they came up, the 3 of Pentacles did pop out completely upside down or reversed. The 3 of Pentacles in reversed is about you feeling like you're stuck. Pentacles are all about job or career or money. So this is a card of feeling like you're stuck at this time, like you're not moving forward in your career and you're not moving forward in your financial situation this week. You're just there. So what else can we say about the 3 of Pentacles? It's interesting. Okay. I'm going to mention this because this is the 3rd video in this reading. There is a theme that's coming up across all of the readings this week, and this is the theme that's coming up. This laziness card is coming in this week. This desire or this draw towards just sitting back and going, oh, can't face this. I am stuck and I really don't have the motivation to continue. But the way that your cards came out is in the way of a progression. You've got the 3, and then you've got a page, and then you've got a knight. So you do have a progression happening throughout this week. So Monday, Tuesday, it looks like you're going to feel like you're stuck with regards to your work or your career, like you're stuck with regards to money, and you're lacking that motivation. There's kind of this laziness coming in. And then by midweek, it looks like you're going to be in a place where you're going to receive some kind of news. You're going to receive some news that's going to kind of activate that ambition that's within you. And you're going to be at that place of going, wow, I don't know what was going on yesterday or day before yesterday, but all of a sudden with this new piece of information, I'm going to get off my butt and I'm going to do what is necessary in order to move forward regarding my job or my money situation. And then you move into this Knight of Cups coming out. And the Knight of Cups by the end of the week brings in or heralds even better information for you. It could be more information about job or career, or it could just be that someone new comes onto the scene, and it could be your knight in shining armor. Now, I'm not referring to male or female here. I'm referring to in general. So for some of you, it may be a female that comes in that inspires you and gives you even better news about your job or your career. Or it could be a male that comes in with similar type information. The sex of the person who comes in with this information is irrelevant, but the Knight of Cups comes riding in on his white horse with information that really helps you to pull out of this slump from the beginning of the week. The Knight of Cups can also represent a proposal of some kind. Now, for those of you who are single and seeking, this may be that, but given that you have started off the week with 2 pentacles, I'm not thinking that this is so much a romantic proposal. This to me is more speaking about a job or career type proposal, like proposing, if you do X, then Y is available to you, or proposing a possible move within the company, or even a promotion within your current situation. That's really what I'm feeling is coming in for those of you that selected this coral this week, is that your week starts off slow, sluggish, unmotivated, and by the end of the week, there's not only good news that's come in, but even potentially a promotion or a proposal or a really fantastic shift in your job or career. At the very bottom of the deck, as your shadow this week, you have coming in the 5 of Cups. Now, interestingly, at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that today is the 5th month, the 15th day, and our year is 23, which adds up to a 5-year. We have a lot of 5s, and I had mentioned, gee, I wonder if 5s are going to come up in the readings. And 5s come up when we are at sort of a crossroads and we're trying to decide what to do. And 5s represent being partway along in a journey and then being presented with a choice. So I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, gee, I wonder if 5s are going to come in. Well, for the second reading, for those who had selected this skull candle, they had the 5 of Wands, also known as the 5 of Spring in this particular deck. You have the 5 of Cups coming in. The 5 of Cups as your shadow energy is, like I said, 5s are all about this choice that is then presented to you unexpectedly. Now, look at the character on this card. You have the character here, and there are 5 cups on this card. I'm not sure if you can see it properly there. I think that there's no reflection if I hold it this way. There are 2 cups behind the character that still contain their contents, and they're still upright. But here we have 3 cups that have spilled. What is the character contemplating? He's not paying attention to the fact that he still has 2 opportunities standing behind him. He has 2 cups behind him that still contain their contents, their gold, their liquid gold, whatever, or their opportunities. And instead, he's crying over spilled milk. This is your shadow this week. Your shadow this week is to make sure that you're not paying attention to the spilled milk, and instead you turn around and you pay attention to the opportunities that are being presented to you. But this is your shadow this week, because you will be more drawn towards crying over spilled milk instead of turning your head slightly and seeing beautiful opportunities. This card, like I said, one of the reasons I still use this cheater deck is that it's just so accurate. Sometimes it's unbelievable, because this card plays perfectly into this, wherein you're beginning your week by looking at the spilled milk, and then opportunities begin to present themselves. But there's going to be this draw or this urge to remain in this, oh, woe is me, even though there's good things presented to you by the end of the week. This is your shadow, right? Which means that you have a choice. It's a 5. It means that you are being presented with a choice. Either you can spend your week with this 3 of Pentacles in reverse, or you can choose to end your week by turning around and seeing that you still have 2 cups that are filled with this Knight of Cups. All right. It's a choice. You have free will. All right. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope that you'll join me again next week. Have a beautiful week, everyone.